All right, and welcome back to the podcast. And here is Brian, and I am Sean. Thank you for joining us, Gen Xers.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, hello. How are you today, sir?
How are you? No, how are you?
No, how am I? I am fantastical, as you can see.
Cool.
Too
I'm
happy.
pretty well. I got a little sun this week, and been trying to reset like my sleep and exercise schedule and all that, and it's not quite in place, but it's getting there.
Yes. Well, yeah, you were down at the beach and you scrambled up here just in time to get the podcast, and we appreciate you so much for that. Thank you, sir.
And we're going late.
Yeah, just a little late. It's not too bad. And we got a storm looming, so if y'all hear thunder at some point, that's what it is. You'll hear it later at Brian's house. Ha ha ha. All right.
Hopefully it won't mess up any recording.
Yes, hopefully it won't. So we're going to start out with the new Star Trek Strange New World Season 2 premiere, Episode 1. Yes, We're going to go ahead and do that reaction right off the bat, right off the get-go. And then, we might do the rest of the podcast after. We might not. It's just whatever we feel like doing. We got a little bit of stuff we could talk about afterwards, but we know you're just here for the Star Trek. That's what the algorithm tells us. Right? Picard was king. That was one of our best.
All hell to Algo.
Yeah, man. Oh, hell, the great Algo. That's the question, or the answer. No, the answer was 42. The question is how to please the Algo.
Yes.
42.
Yes.
All right. Bam. All right, here we go. Star Trek Strange New World Season 2. We come in, flying ships through the spaces there. First of all, the theme at the beginning. I started noticing, as many did, that I did too, man. I was sitting there doing my arm with the beat, like I was an old Viking or something. Like those war drums were really getting me, man. And, it was good at foreshadowing what was to come. I told my wife right there, I was like, ooh, war drums, war. Right. There's going to be something to do with war. Because I know, like, everybody, I'm not the only one that noticed. Like, they're using the music and the titles to foreshadow a lot of stuff. So you need to pay attention to these things because they do tell a story. We open up on the ships flying around, and then we see them come up on the starbase. You're like, what's this? Was it a starbase? I don't know. It doesn't look familiar to me.
Actually, I still want to go back to the opening. Wait, was that? No, it's the theme, which was after the opening, right? They had like that, they did the intro, the little soft opening, and then later on they did the actual Marquean theme, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking of was the theme. So we can get to that after.
Maybe that's what I was talking about with the war drums. I don't know, man. It was just kind of like it was a big piece of music. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was telling us a story. And then the little, anyway, we get to the ships, we get to Starbase, and of course we didn't know it was I didn't know it was a Starbase right off the bat. I love seeing the geodomes with the biological stuff in there. At least you can see trees anyway. I don't know what else you can see in there. But it's cool, man. I mean, like, I like seeing that kind of stuff in space, because you figure that's how it's going to have to be for real, if we ever end up like that, especially if you want, like, gardening and that kind of thing. A little slice of life out in space. Yeah. So we see that the Enterprise is being checked up on, getting some upgrades, some repairs.
Correct.
We see that old girl, number one, what's her name? Una is I guess, incarcerated, and doesn't really seem like she gives a fuck. She's just happy to resign and take her plea deal and go.
Well, I mean, I think she does care, but she's doing that because, like she said, she doesn't want the Enterprise jeopardized, right?
Yeah. She's trying to be the hero, I guess. But Chris isn't having any of it. You can tell he's obviously going to do his thing. So he disappears for 3 days, leaving Spock in charge, which is funny. There were some great moments here, all over the place. Let's see. First of all, Pike's he had a kind of a voiceover there at the beginning, and he mentioned something is in the air. He was talking about the admirals talking, something is in the air. I noted that. So Remember that was said, and keep that in the back of your mind, kids, for this whole season, because something is in the air. Of course, that's kind of a fucking low-hanging fruit there. Isn't that how you start every new season? Something is happening. We hope. Goddamn, it's gonna be pretty boring. Otherwise, right. Yeah. So Spock's taking command, man. We don't know if this is like his first time in the chair. I don't remember last season at all. I wish I'd have been smart enough to remember it.
Yeah, we should probably have like a watch party before, right?
Yeah, it would have been sensible. I told my wife the same thing. I'm like, why the hell didn't we watch this leading up to it? I mean, that's usually, generally what I try to do so I can keep up with what's going on.
I don't think Spock has been in the chair, though.
I kind of want to say no, but we'll see. And Spock is stressed, which is something that kicks off the whole episode. Is we find out that his little deal with the Gorn didn't left him the worse for wear. Let's say he's got his emotions on his sleeve, as they say.
Well, he popped that cork and can't get the genie back in, right?
Yeah. He said cork. Love to seeing that with the stress level. I thought that was very funny, actually, him being stressed. He opened up. Let's see. Oh, he got his lyre.
Well,
that's what I meant to look up.
Vega.
What's the name of that lyre thing that he plays? Do you know?
Nope. Should have looked it up too.
I know. Yeah. Damn if I didn't. All you people, leave us a comment in there and tell us what it is, because I'll go look it up after anyway, but you can tell us.
The Vulcan air guitar.
Yeah, it's great because it's associated with Spock in all the TOS episodes, and he and Uhura kind of have their little sing-alongs and shit. So it's cool. We get to see that introduced, and that's his little thing now, kind of his moment of zen. He gets his lyre out and starts playing. Boy, he really just started right off the bat on that thing, didn't he? Just like he's been playing since.
Well, he has, because they had that exchange, and Vega was like something about it being a Vulcan instrument, blah blah blah. But he said something about most youths learn to play it, and he's like, yes, for the basically logical aspect of it, sure. The number relations.
Yeah, music logic. Yeah, obviously, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so obviously he has had some training, and that's probably what he was doing, something along the equivalence of scales, right?
Grind. Yes. All right. I noticed the tension between Rand and Spock still. Yeah. There's obviously, that.
Did you?
Yeah,
really?
It's so obvious. I know, right? It's like a Spielberg direct.
Right.
But Uhura showing her little nutty side too when that tech comes up to see her station. She basically puts him in his place. This is my station.
Right.
Yeah. And then even when she goes down to see Spock, right? And that was, like I just said, they had their little sing-along. So she's getting to see him with the thing for the first time too. So that's kind of an important moment there. And, right. She even kind of sasses him back, but not really, but puts him in his place, because as a Vulcan, he's throwing the logic out there. Well, why the fuck are you down here? Why, you could have just called me, woman. And she's like, well, right. The comms are down, and you see him kind of instantly apply his logic filter that's an okay rebuttal.
Right.
He is not going to
see it process.
Yeah, it's very cool. I just like that little moment there. Of course, Leanne sent us an SOS, so we know some shit goes down. You better be ready. It's the Klingons now. Yeah.
When the shit goes down.
When the shit goes down. Man, how great is it to see Carol Kane in here? I thought that was a nice little touch, man. God. That shit was funny as hell.
She does not have the most silk song, sing-song, silky voice, right, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's almost like hearing your grandmother or something to me. It just takes me back to.
Well, she's just done
all of her great roles.
Yeah, she's done so many great things. She's funny as shit. I mean, anything you put her in. Probably the last big thing she was in was Gotham, playing Penguin's mom. She may have had roles since then, but great stuff. It's interesting that she's just popping up here in these last couple of years because she's kind of really an old school for us. It's great to see her because she's from back in our day. I was thinking it was Princess Bride, wasn't it? One thing she was in.
That was one of the more notable things,
right.
I think, because it was very much one of those roles that she kind of inhabited. You can't imagine anybody else playing that role, right?
No, because I was hearing it in my head, and I was like, "That's Princess Bride," because I can just hear her going, doing the
right.
thing. That voice, that iconic, just is it a German? I don't know. Is it a German or a Hungarian? I don't know what kind of accent that is that she's got going on there.
I don't know for sure, but I want to say it is more like a Eastern, Southeastern European area.
Maybe a little
like
Jewish in there, Jewish accent. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a little
Jewish,
Yiddish lilt here and there.
And I'm just wondering, is it because I'm trying to remember, is that accent put on? Is that part of just her character? Because like Bobcat, was with his stuff. I wonder if that's a put on deal, if that's because I don't know anything about her as far as where she's from or anything like that.
I don't know. I think it's probably like I think she affects when she gives interviews too, because I've heard her talk.
Well, maybe that's just her.
And it doesn't seem like her, right? When she's talking in an interview.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
It's kind of like when you see Christian Bale using an American accent. Right?
Yeah, it is weird. What? So the whole exchange with her and Spock was just hilarious, though. I mean, like,
right?
You couldn't have cast a better person to play that role. And you're thinking, oh shit, the jig is up, or is it? But Spock was kind of quick or kind of slow to pick up on what she was putting down.
Right.
But she obviously knew. We find out later. Had reasons for knowing, or just I don't know what. Well, we hear that she's a lanthanite. I think I'm saying it right. Lanthanite.
Something
Lanthanite.
Like that.
I think
Lanthanite.
I've got it written lanthanite. Which I was like, question mark? I don't know what that is. That as much as I know about Star Trek, I don't know that. That's probably a new term anyway.
You probably do know it. I'm wanting to say it's a creature that we encountered in when they went to like an alternate timeline or something, and there was this battle in like San Francisco, right?
There's the Deep Space Nine episode where Cisco and Bashir and Dax end up in that alternate time, or like that 22nd, or it was 21st century actually.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I'm wanting to say that there was one of them there at some point in that arc.
Maybe. I don't know because we're getting ahead of but we find out later. Obviously, they've been living with Earth. So they live with us supposedly right now up until like the 22nd century.
Right.
But they don't go into saying like, did they guide us in any way or, what that has to do in relation to us. But I guess we'll find out maybe more about it. And I'll certainly find out if it's already lore or not. We'll see.
I almost get the feeling that they're refugees or something. This is not lore or anything. It's just kind of, how the fact that it's not really mentioned that much, and they live amongst humans and they hide amongst humans.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like
Guinan's.
It seems like I feel like a lot of Guinan's kind of people when they talk about it, but I know it's not. But it just I don't know, kind of get that same vibe. Like this is like their way of making another type of Guinan people for this particular series. But then we get to what is Spock's thing. What is his thing? And I almost nailed it. I just said, go.
Right.
But he almost said, but I would like to make the ship go. Now.
Now.
I don't know why I have Crow Dog and Leanne written down. I guess it's because that's where just keeping me on the storyline. So we're at that part, right? So where she's drinking this Klingon under the table, which I guess I wrote it down because I wanted to say first and foremost that I appreciate that they took some liberties with the Klingons because they're going to put their modernized stamp on it. but I appreciate so much that it is more like the traditional Klingons we know than that crap we got with Discovery. Those gorilla-looking Klingons we got in Discovery was just horrible, man. And I do feel like these Klingons are a bit soft, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I mean, just her drinking dude under the table, you know, that he should have a better constitution than that. Let's see, and then we see. Oh, we find out
it could be argued in like the other universes that we've experienced that at this point in time the Klingons were getting soft unless there was a specific conflict keeping them active.
Yeah, we have that whole period too, which is around this time where the Klingons supposedly, you know, didn't have the ridges and all that stuff, and were kind of soft from the Enterprise show, where they had the augment stuff, and it kind of backfired on them because the way they had to cure it. Anyway, so we find out that Uhura is an ensign now and not a cadet, which kind of explains a little more.
I'm pretty sure they covered that in the last.
And maybe they did. I just know, Leon made a big deal about it. Oh, ensign, you know, so she obviously didn't know. And we see the Klingons are trying to get their hands on Federation weapons. So that's our first clue that something shady is going on.
Well, I mean, right then it wasn't a big leap for anybody, right? It's like, what are they going to do with Federation weapons?
Yeah,
what else are they going to do with Federation weapons?
Yeah, there's a lot of like Spielberg direction here. Like, look at this. Yeah. This is what we're going to next. Yeah. In fact, when Leon pulled out that detonator to try and call that dude's bluff, I told my wife too. I was like, "That ain't a thing. That thing she just..." And
I knew that immediately too.
Yeah, I was like, "Not a thing." And then there we go. Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yep.
So that just shows your level of nerdiness, you know, and how much we know Star Trek to be able to call bullshit on something says like that isn't a thing.
I mean, that's also a trope that Star Trek is well known for, right? Like it was a 7 of 9 skit, I think, once, right? Didn't she have something like that? She did.
It's been used before, yeah. I can't remember specifically what.
But I think that's the most often cited thing from Star Trek when people are like, "Look at this trope."
So once we get to this point in the story, though, we're starting to find out more about the Doc and Rand. Man, this starts to get really interesting at this point because it all of a sudden just turns into the rest of the story is just almost all theirs. And it's clear
it's
that
not enough. I want more, right?
Yeah, because dude, they opened up a fucking Pandora's box of questions for me. And like, okay, so obviously, and it's the closest term I can come up with because I'm not sure it's exactly what he has, but he obviously has some kind of PTSD from the Klingon War that was previous to this. And Rand is aware of it. Like she's fully aware of what's going on with him. They've obviously had previous connections. Also, too, I skipped over earlier in the episode. They had a little exchange where she says that she's going to be going and doing something. I forget what it was, but so he basically alludes to like, we're going to be losing you. So I don't know what's going on there, or if they're seeding anything, or if that was just a throwaway deal just to make us think that she's leaving or something. And maybe she is. Maybe she is leaving, but I don't know. I like her a lot. I really do. These two all of a sudden surprised me. Two characters one character. I wasn't sure about the Doc. I've very been interested in her just because of her dynamic with Spock. But now all of a sudden, they've got a brand new dynamic that I'm very interested in. And
I was interested in her off the bat simply because of her station, and that was the only thing that they gave us, right? Like a little thing with Spock.
Yeah,
and we got a little bit of her history, but not much.
Obviously, we didn't get shit because I start to wonder, like, okay, so she knows all this stuff about him. She seems very loyal to him, and now it's like, okay, is she just being a nurse only to be working with him? Like,
possibly, yeah.
Just to be under his wing at all times, to be there in case something goes down. Well, they might even leave Starfleet altogether just to do what they need to do. Because he's carrying this vial with him, which we don't know exactly what's in it, but we know what it does. It's definitely some kind of adrenaline booster or something.
Soldier serum.
Oh man, their eyeballs went blink.
Yeah.
And they started beating the shit out of Klingons, which again, see, I'm tallying. I'm already starting to notice a pattern. Klingons getting their ass kicked. I know they've got this serum, but we're talking human frame and shit like that. Klingons are built totally fucking different. Like even when he's working on one, he talks about this normally wouldn't be able to be healed like this because you got that redundant epidermis. They have redundant organs. We've heard this all through, Klingon stuff, especially with Worf and all his accidents.
Well, I mean, I would give a point to Mbiga there that him being involved in the war would have picked up specific training.
Sure. And now we're finding out her too.
Yeah. Her? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like this is a big surprise, but we're finding out that, hey, man, maybe these two were a pair, and they obviously, she knows so much. Maybe they fought side by side in the war. She certainly has got the training for it. Or did he train her? How?
Well, I would say she wasn't there because she does have the exchange with him concerning it, and he opens up to her about a little more than he has in the past about his experiences.
I may have missed that. Yeah, I was walking in and out
towards the end.
Checking kittens, so I missed a few things.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, but finding out that she's a badass, and I want. So he's probably trained her, and now we need to know why. Like, what's up with that? Okay, I already covered that. And then again, so here covering my thing about the Klingons being kind of weak. So here he's about to kill or torture this Klingon for this information. What Klingon would not say, fucking kill me then? I mean, I thought that was total bullshit, that whole part right there.
I don't know. That part kind of got me too. But at the same time, it's like, obviously, Klingons have a society and it is capable and, very warlike in the past, but they have tried to come into the new century, whichever century it is, whatever thing we're dealing with. But you obviously can't have all of them be apex, right? There's got to be betas. And that kind of a community.
I will grant you that simply for the fact that they brought up that there was some weird dialect of Klingon that they were speaking. So maybe you're not far off with that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the point. It's like you can't expect every time you see a Klingon in that situation for them to be like, kill me, because then there would be no Klingon civilization, right? Yeah,
but he better not tell nobody, man. Talk about shame shame bell. Shame bell. Ding. Yeah, so you see, I was picking up on a pattern anyway, so we'll see how that plays out. I did like the cool ass camera angle. I dig some different camera angles when they shot down that nice. That hatch. That was a pretty cool little trick. And the reason I like stuff like that in space is because space is 3-dimensional. So you never know what kind of camera angle you can get. It's so experiment, please, directors, do more. I like it. Don't get crazy, just here and there. And we find out that ship, the Klingons do have a ship. A Federation ship to make all this their little ruse possible.
Here's the thing I didn't understand. So Mbiga said that they built it, right?
Oh, did he? See, I may have missed that one part.
Well, they were like saying, I think she said, like, how did they get their hands on this or something like that? And it was like, I think they built it. But honestly,
it doesn't seem likely, and I'll say this too.
Right.
They mentioned that it's the Crossfield class. So if they built it, why a specific class? It could have just been, well, I guess it has to be a recognizable Federation ship.
Well, it's got to be a chassis, yeah.
But what, I mean, like, she said it was old. What, I mean, like, aren't they going to question, like, certain, how old is it? That's what I wonder, because aren't they going to question, like, this old-ass ship all of a sudden just showing up?
The codes are old, but they check out.
Yeah, no shit, right? That's always worked well in the past, hasn't
it? Right.
Yeah. Yes. Man, didn't Spock kind of come to his theory about how everything was going down pretty quick? I thought that was a little theorized too well. He didn't miss anything. He got the whole shooting match, the whole episode. He sussed it all out and figured out what was going on by their cryptic little SOS.
Yeah, I think they didn't telegraph that enough for the audience, right? You got to do that in those types of situations, and like, let the audience think they're smart, right? Like they figured this out, and actually it's the character that figured
So he
it out,
became
right?
Basil Exposition all of a sudden.
Right.
Basil Exposition is a Klingon. I mean, a Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Jesus. Where am I at here? That space battle, man, in the iron ice. I loved the iron ice for one, that red ice, because it's kind of like blood. And blood has iron in it, so yeah, it makes total sense. There was a shot though when they first get into that battle where the Enterprise comes at the camera and kind of does the old like Empire Strikes Back move where the Millennium Falcon puts its. Oh, it was so cool. It had to be an homage, man. It really did. It had to be. I know I would have done it if I was doing the effect shot, but it reminded me because those are essentially asteroids, just like an ESB. That ship's flying around. It's got that big saucer, whereas the rear of the Falcon's kind of a saucer shape in a way. So it was just the same exact move. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
I'd like to think that they did it on purpose.
I'm sure they did.
Oh, and then they pull that old jump into space routine, man. We can survive for so many. Man, weak sauce with me. We've seen Captain Archer do it in Enterprise. I'm trying to think of where else we might have seen it. Have we seen it any other Star Trek other than this one? I don't know. I
keep going other franchises. I'm like, Alien and
right. It's
all
been
these
done.
other franchises. Yeah,
it's not. Oh, I was thinking, what was that really? Oh, shit. It was like, oh, never mind. I'll never think of the movie. Where am I at here? Spock got really emotional again.
Yep.
Obviously, again, with the Spielberg-like direction, loves Rand. Crying like a baby, man. I mean, just like talk about that Gorn really getting to his human side. I mean, he's just sobbing over this girl, man. He really digs her. I like it. I like the dynamic between them. I'm curious to see how it plays out. I really am.
I don't know. Spock's always been a weird character, right?
Yeah.
Even from the original.
Definitely. I love him.
It's an interesting concept to have him. I think they broached him being an outcast in this series, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Discovery more than anything.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like
right.
Discovery versus
in the universe, they've broached it. Yeah.
So, that's almost kind of like a follow up, in my opinion, from like, in the old series, he was basically almost like a pariah, exile type thing.
Yeah.
People judged him for spending too much time with humans, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that he was half human. They felt like he was just, an outcast, like you say.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's been a throughput, but I don't think we've ever seen this where like a romantic interest maybe there to help him figure out his human side or parts of his human side.
I think that's what'll become important for her. Of course, that's and she's going to have to share her time now between Spock and the Doc.
Yep.
Forgive me, I'm rough with him being saying names and stuff like that, so I just call him the Doc for short.
It's okay.
It's easier. So he skirts a court martial, and then he has another emotional outburst.
Right.
And then we find out at the very end that the admirals, we find out what at the beginning we set up, the admiral, something's in the air. We find out what's in the air war, obviously, which we knew.
Right.
But I wondered, are they trying to get it going? See, I feel like these admirals, like those Klingons, There's not all of them, but some, just like you say, there's this section of Klingons that wants a war, and there's this section of Starfleet that wants war. Just like in real life. It sounds very, very true to life, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Life imitating art, isn't that what they say? I don't know who they is, but somebody said it.
Or sometimes life is stranger than fiction, right?
Yes. Truth is stranger than fiction, something like that. There's all kinds of different ways of saying it, yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much the episode, and I, for one, thought it went off with a bang. I'm in so far. I'm with it. I love the dynamic between the Doc and Rand. That was a big surprise. I can't wait to see what we're going to find out is going on with all them.
You and I are probably going to connect on something that most of the rest of the audience didn't. And for me, it's that Carol Kane stole the show. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, younger generations aren't going to get that because it wasn't hyped up. You know, she was there. She did her thing.
Yeah, I didn't expect
there was a lot more going on.
It was a nice little, nice little cameo. And you know, she said there at the end when she comes back, we find out that she knew Spock's mom, and you know, who knows why was she there on purpose? Is she kind of there from Spock's mom to say, hey, you know, there's some shit going on that she already knew about and maybe swaying things? I don't know if it's that convoluted, but
I'm thinking maybe she is there for Spock, knowing like I think that dissertation that she gave about being bored was true.
Yeah.
And she's there because of Spock because she knows it won't be boring.
Right. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. And then she said that she might stick around. So I think we're going to see more of her, and I hope so. They could do no wrong.
Make that happen.
Yes, you could do no wrong by doing that. So I give that a good 4.5 stars, man. That was a very good episode.
It's a good episode, yeah.
Very good episode. Good to kick off the season.
Yeah. I will never not hear Avengers in any of the Russo brothers record now.
Oh yeah.
I just don't think I can.
It's all Avengers.
Didn't you hear it like in the intro?
You know me. I am completely non-superhero movie for now and until I see fit. So it's been so long I don't remember. Maybe a little
Avengers
bit in my
has
head.
this brass thing.
So yeah, I kind of hear it in my head
and everything. Yeah, and there's just hints of that in the intro. But what I really loved was the old school theremin that was kind of more of a Doctor Who throwback.
Yes, nothing like a good old theremin, man. Yeah. Definitely. So that wraps up the whole Strange New Worlds reaction video. We're going to go ahead and slide right into our normal podcast and talk about a few things here. First of all, our news only seemed to, I didn't really see anything fancy. And of course, this week snuck up on me more because we're recording a day earlier than we normally would. We're trying to get videos out on Saturday now, which I've been doing, but it's, like we'd have to get done
hard
early.
To record and get it done.
Yeah. It's a real cram to get it all in there and just in time. So we moved to recording on Fridays now, and it just kind of snuck up on me as far as, wow, I don't have any real news to speak of. I had a couple things in there, but most of what we've got is some trailers came out this week of some games that definitely interest me, and I'm sure you as well. First and biggest announcement. This is pretty big. Microsoft announced a brand new Flight Simulator 2024. And
about time.
Yeah. Well, they had 2020 out. Well, they never called it 2020. It was just called Flight Simulator, but it came out in 2020, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's the best flight simulator they've put out, bar none.
But the other time changed since then.
Yeah, and I told you too last time we were talking, I couldn't remember the name of the other program. It was called X-Plane. And X-Plane's up to version 12 now, and they have a very nice looking package now too. However, it still does not look as good as Microsoft's deal. Microsoft is just hands down.
You prefer the look of Microsoft's package?
Yes, I think their package is beautiful. When you have a package that big and that beautiful, you can't help but look away. I mean, not look away. Damn it. Anyway, a few concerns from people with the current version that's out, because a lot of people spend money on the different planes and stuff that you can buy in the store. There's a lot of stuff and mods and upgrades you can buy. And Microsoft, when it originally came out with this flight simulator in 2020, said that they were pretty much going to take care of it for like 10 years, which is pretty strong boast, actually.
Right.
But then this pops up, so that question comes up, well, what's going to happen with 2020 now? And they've already said that the most everything that you buy for 2020 will work in 2024, with few exceptions. So that's cool. That's a plus for, people, I'm sure, that were wondering about that. Now, what we saw in the trailer was a lot of missions, just showing off missions, and they all had a theme, and it was all about like rescue or first responders, that kind of thing. So every kind of, a helicopter scenario you can think of, whether it's a rescue scene. There was even one where you're carrying like a generator out to an oil rig, and this oil rig was super detailed. Did you watch the trailer? Did you have a chance? I know you've been driving.
I did not. Yeah, I've been driving all day. It was all I could do to get the other trailer in.
Yeah, well, the crazy thing is, man, like so the scenes we see have just uber detailed models, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for the rest of the actual, because it's in-game footage and it looks great, but is the whole sim going to be, that high resolution? It's highly unlikely, except for, obviously the most beautiful spots. They'll probably do DLC where you can get an upgrade to it, places like, Heathrow Airport, whatever the Japanese airport is, big spots. I can't remember all these names.
Yeah.
But, so I'm looking forward to that. I didn't invest in 2020. I was going to, and then I got the Xbox Game Pass, and it came free on that. And I'm sorry, Flight Simulator is just not, I appreciate that they put it on there, but it's just not meant to be played without a keyboard, which you can hook a keyboard up to it. But, I like the joystick, the force feedback stick in that situation. At minimum, I mean, you really can go crazy with a yoke and all that good stuff. But yeah, the PC version of it I have too, because I have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, so I'm probably going to install it on this, but it's just the standard version, so I'm going to lose out on a few free planes and stuff like that, but that's not that big a deal. Anyway, I'm digressing a bit, but anyway, yeah, so that's just a little teaser they put out, so we'll have more information as it comes out, but it's coming out in 2024, so it's still a little time yet before we'll see that. And speaking of 2024, another big announcement, which I got a little bit to say about this one as I watched the entire, this is Star Wars Outlaws. Okay. Yeah. The official gameplay trailer that came out a few days ago. And right off the bat, I noticed it was a lot like, or it seemed like a lot like Jedi Fallen Order type gameplay. Instead of the little robot. Yeah, I got a couple of
elements with a callback to Old Republic and some of the stuff there.
Sure. Oh yeah, definitely. But instead of like that robot that you had in Fallen Order, you got this little critter. They have a name. I can't remember what they're called. Which, I guess is fine. And the main protagonist is female, which again is fine. You can, if it's a great game, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I kind of prefer when they give you a choice. But if you intend to go just with a set protagonist, it doesn't really matter to me as long as the game's good. But I did notice that it was female. Not hard to notice that. But what I did notice further into the game is so are the antagonists. Or it seems like the cutscenes I saw, you had a Mon Calamari, who I don't know if she's an antagonist, but she's certainly in there.
In the mix.
She's female. And then this Imperial officer who's sitting at the same table with her is female. And I'm like, okay, Disney, what are we doing here? it's
Dude,
fine. It's
that
fine
was
if you
like
just.
one scene out of like God knows how many. So you may
Uh,
be jumping the gun a little bit. Is
Maybe
all
I'm
I'm saying.
jumping the gun, but we're talking about we're talking about a company who has a history of doing stuff like this. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not like I'm going out on a far limb here. And certainly, yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Again, no issue until it starts to become looking like it's forced down your throat. Then I start to have issues with it, and that's all I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying? If it looks like it's over the top, then it's over the top. Just stick with you. I mean, you had a female character. That's what you needed for if you're trying to get females to play. That's all you needed to do. You didn't need to hold. This is the exact same mistake that what's that? Captain Marvel.
Marvel?
Exactly what Captain Marvel made the mistake. It was a man-hating movie from the very beginning. And this, not man, I'm not saying this Star Wars game is man-hating, but it's clearly matriarchal in what I've seen so far. We'll see how it plays out if the whole game's that way. Whether they chose to, if the whole game's not that way, they chose to cut it that way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but I mean, again, we don't even know. This is so far out. We don't even know if that's a situation to where those two characters might change. Based on the way that you play.
Yeah, possibly.
One of those characters may not be around. Who knows?
It's called Outlaws, but the only thing that made me, because I thought the same as you, well, maybe I could change, maybe characters change out, but they said you're following Eva whatever,
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so I guess we're her throughout the whole thing. That's just what I got from that. So I don't know. It remains to be seen. Like you say, I could be totally wrong, but we'll see how it plays out, man. I'm usually pretty good about these things.
Some of the gameplay seems interesting.
It seemed great. That's what I was trying to say from the get-go. It doesn't matter what you throw in there. Give me a great game. You don't have to. I'm saying you don't have to do that shit is what I'm saying. You feel the need to do it by social pressure, and you don't have to. We don't give a fuck. We really don't. You're placating a very small group that you think is a big group or you think's controlling all of society, and they're not. We all out here don't give a fuck. We just want to play a game. That's it. So we'll see how that plays out. I'll be interested. I can't wait to play it. It looks great.
Yeah.
It's Picard Day. Not when you see this, because it'll probably be tomorrow when you see this, which will be a Saturday.
Right,
today,
I was going to say, it was.
Yeah, as we're recording, it is Picard Day, and another game was announced, and it's not as far off as those other two. Star Trek Infinite, and it is a strategy game, and we haven't really seen one of these like this since, I guess, Star Trek Armada 2.
Right.
Maybe something's coming. I can't think of anything, but and there's a Star Trek Armada 3 mod for Sins of the Solar Empire, which is kind of neat. Somebody decided to make a kind of an Armada 3. I didn't like it. It didn't have any single player, so it was crap. Yeah, he was just setting up your own, scenarios and stuff like that. Not my bag at all. But anyway, so this is a strategy game. So I'm not very good at them, but I certainly would be interested in checking it out. It looked pretty neat. But that's due out in fall of 2023. Did you get a chance to look at anything about this? I found it at the last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I got a little bit here I can read from the Star Trek site about it and the announcement. So this is on StarTrek.com if you guys want to go check it out. But recently announced at Summer Game Fest 2023, Star Trek Infinite takes players on a thrilling journey through space, placing him in the heart of galactic struggles between powers of the Alpha and Beta quadrants. Star Trek Infinite, with its emergent gameplay and complex choices, launches on PC this fall. A little bit further here. Though the game draws inspiration from the iconic Star Trek The Next Generation, this story isn't just about one ship. Star Trek Infinite puts players in command of one of 4 major powers in the galaxy: the United Federation of Planets, Romulan Star Empire, Cardassian Union, or Klingon Empire. Each major power possesses individualized traits, stories, quests, and more to make their play feel distinct. Players can send fleets to explore the Alpha and Beta quadrants manage an economy, and navigate diplomatic endeavors. So, if you like RTS or strategy games, sounds like it's pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of Star Trek IP stuff has been pretty good here lately, even that resurgence, as basic it is. And I told you, every now and then I just like a good laid back game. I'm really finding myself enjoying it. I can just pop into it. I don't have to, give a lot of thought to strategy and all that, or, constant movement where I'm walking around everywhere. It's nice. So it'll be interesting to see, because I've been really happy with the stuff that's been coming out. I don't think any turds have really come out of the Star Trek IP in a while, or I'm trying to think of any Star Wars turds.
Games, huh?
Yeah. We won't count the actual shows themselves.
Well, I gotta ask you something. Have you played? Where are you in Death Stranding?
Okay, that's a great question. I have not touched that game. I played it a little bit a week ago, and then I started. What is that? What is it I've been playing the most? Oh, so I just started. I got this new computer, so I wanted to see kind of different things it can do, and I'm playing I was playing No Man's Sky the other day. I've heard things about it, and I got it free, so I just installed it, and it's actually kind of cool. I was trying to check out another game that I'd really like to get going better, and I haven't given up on it completely yet, but I got to get the controller working right. It's called X4 something or other, X4 Foundation, I think, and it's kind of a space sim, like not Starfield. Well, I guess Starfield kind of is. Starfield's not supposed to be a space sim, from what I understand. Not totally. What's the other one? Star Citizen, kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But my controller was just going crazy. What's that?
I was just saying, I can't believe I couldn't come up with Star Citizen.
Oh yeah. I would try out Star Citizen if it wasn't for the fact that you have to actually pay money to get going in it.
Yeah.
I would love to check it out, but that's what got me into it, because there's find videos that say alternatives to Star Citizen, or there's another game too that came out before that. I can't think of the name. It was like Elder something, or Elder Space or something shit like that. I know I'm wrong, but
maybe
comment. You know what it is. All right, yeah. If you guys would, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast or the beginning of the reaction podcast, whatever, it doesn't matter. Hit the subscribe button, please. We need more subscribers. We want hundreds of thousands of subscribers, millions of subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button and the like button, because we know you like that video. It was a hell of a good recap. Don't you think, Brian?
I think it was wonderful. And guys, if you have anything you'd like to add about Carol Kane, perhaps, or anybody else, just drop a comment. We love to interact with you guys. So anytime we see a comment, we're usually on it pretty quick. And it's one of the more interesting aspects, right? It's that exchange as opposed to just the performance.
I like interacting. We had one of our good friends who we mentioned, and not by name, this last podcast, who commented on. I was very happy to see him, because I wasn't even sure he was watching our stuff. So shout out to Mr. J out there. Not the J we refer to all the time. This is another J. Mr. J.O.
A different J.
Mystery J. In the AR, VR space. I don't know
the
what
West
he's
Coast
up to.
J.
Yeah, I don't know what he's up to these days in that world, but I know he's working on some cool stuff. But anyways, I guess we'll just go ahead and wrap it up, because we didn't have a lot to talk about other than those little trailers anyway. The meat of the matter was Star Trek, and we got that handled. So guys, we appreciate you watching, and as always, be excellent to each other, and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace out.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.